It's always better to drive around in style while you are abusing human rights, oppressing your people, and committing unforgivable acts of violence. You are one of the most reprehensible people on the planet, so there's no reason you should have to drive around in a Ford Taurus. Even though it might be better for everyone if you drove a Volkswagen Golf, there are occasions when being wealthy and powerful makes you feel compelled to treat yourself to a luxurious vehicle. Hi guys, welcome to Finest Vehicles. Today, we will look at the coolest cars owned by dictators. We start off this list with Joseph Stalin and his ZIS 115. The Soviet Union was ruled by Joseph Stalin with an iron grip from 1924 until his death in 1953. During his administration, there were mass purges, camps for forced labor, and millions of deaths from starvation and political repression. Stalin possessed an opulent and well-armed car collection, which included the Soviet reverse-engineered ZES 115, an armored variant of the American Packard Super 8. Owning several of these, as well as actual Packard cars and non-armored ZIS 110s, demonstrated his desire for dominance and power. If we take a look at China, we have Mao Zedong and his Hongqi CA 770. Founding father of the People's Republic of China, Mao Zedong presided over the nation from its founding in 1949 until his death in 1976. Despite his advocacy for social equality and communist ideals, Mao enjoyed the finer things in life, including his choice of cars, which included the Hongqi CA 770, a luxury vehicle produced from 1966 to 1981. Often compared to the Chrysler Imperial, the CA 770 had a V8 engine and was known for its limited production, which symbolized Mao's status and authority. Another dictator with a good taste in cars was Benito Mussolini with his 1939 Alfa Romeo 6C 2500 Sport Berlinetta. Benito Mussolini was an Italian fascist dictator who ruled from 1922 until his overthrow in 1943. Mussolini was an avid fan of Alfa Romeo cars and owned several models, such as the 6C 2300 Spider and the 6C 2500 Sport Berlinetta. His collection also included sedans and convertibles, which demonstrated his love of speed and style. Ercole Barato, a race car driver, was Mussolini's personal chauffeur, further highlighting his passion for high-end automobiles. On the other political spectrum is Fidel Castro with his gas Chaika. From 1959 until his retirement in 2008, Fidel Castro oversaw Cuba, creating a communist nation marked by economic hardship and political repression. Castro maintained a considerable collection of automobiles, originally gravitating for American models such as Ford and Chevrolet, despite his austere public persona. In the aftermath of the U.S. trade embargo, he resorted to using Soviet and European automobiles, such as the GAZ Chaika. When Castro chose to reduce the number of vehicles in his personal collection, the Chaika was converted into a state-run taxi service, symbolizing the luxury of his rule. A more modern dictator who has a passion for cars is Saddam Hussein for his love of the Porsche 911 and other exotic cars. Saddam Hussein was the dictator of Iraq from 1979 to 2003. He oversaw a brutal, human rights violating, and highly corrupt regime. He and his sons, Uday and Qusay, were also car enthusiasts, preferring high-end models like the Porsche 911. The legendary Ferrari Testarossa was his favorite Italian car. When he wanted to travel in comfort, he chose the luxury of the Mercedes-Benz S600. Despite his conflict with America, one of his most colorful possessions was a bright pink 1955 Chevy Bel Air. This demonstrated his opulent lifestyle in spite of the harsh conditions his people endured in Iraq. A close neighbor of Saddam Hussein was Muammar Gaddafi. His coolest car was the Sarouk El Jamahiriya. Muammar Gaddafi, the dictator of Libya from 1969 until his overthrow in 2011, was well known for his extravagant and eccentric lifestyle. Unlike some of his contemporaries, Gaddafi invested in luxury cars, as evidenced by his collection of custom BMWs, Mercedes limousines, and a custom Fiat 500. He also invested in unique cars, such as the Sarouk El Jamahiriya, a unique model he designed himself that was hailed as the safest car in the world. though it never received much praise and was never produced. Back in the 70s, there was dictator Pol Pot and his beloved 1973 Mercedes-Benz W115. Despite his strict and harsh regime, Pol Pot, the leader of the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia from 1976 to 1979, was known for his indulgence in luxury cars, such as this 1973 Mercedes-Benz W115. A short wheelbase model symbolic of his power and the regime's facade of prosperity amidst widespread suffering and devastation. An estimated 1.7 to 2 million people died as a result of forced labor, starvation, and execution. It is funny to think of a communist dictator who is a fan of American-made cars. Such was the case with Nikolai Ceausescu and his 1974 Buick Electra. Nikolai Ceausescu was the totalitarian communist ruler of Romania from 1965 until his execution in 1989 during the Romanian Revolution. His reign was marked by harsh repression, widespread monitoring, and mishandled economic policies. Among the luxury cars that U.S. President Nixon gave Ceausescu was a 1974 Buick Electra, which was equipped with air conditioning and leather upholstery. Of course, these were features that the average Romanian citizen could not afford, underscoring the glaring inequality of his rule. Maybe the most talked about dictator currently is Vladimir Putin. His favorite car in his collection is the Urus Senate. As the head of state and prime minister of Russia since 1999, Vladimir Putin has dominated the political landscape. Putin, who is renowned for stifling criticism and consolidated authority, has led an opulent life consistent with his rank. The Urus Senate limousine, manufactured by Russian premium automotive manufacturer NAMI, serves as his official vehicle. With a hybrid drivetrain and 4.4-liter V8 engine, the Urus Senate generates 598 horsepower. Its impressive features, which include bulletproof and bomb-proof protection even in the presence of water, represent the regime's emphasis on prestige and security. Last on this list is the most famous dictator of all time, Adolf Hitler, and his beloved Mercedes-Benz 770K. Initiating the Holocaust and starting World War II, which resulted in a great deal of death and destruction throughout Europe, Adolf Hitler played a major role in the establishment of the Nazi regime in Germany. Hitler lived in luxury despite his horrible deeds, and his favorite car was the Mercedes-Benz 770K. Known as the Grosser Mercedes, this special vehicle was one among many made by the German manufacturer just for the dictator. Hitler was vehement about his preferences, saying at one point that he would not tolerate a car manufactured by another company, despite having been instrumental in the founding of Volkswagen. Which car would you like to own? Give your opinion in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe for more of the best new vehicle videos here at Finest Vehicles.